friends, welcome to my online tutorial. My name is Pranav Shukla and today we are going for English from Rain Tree English course. This is 8th standard and we are going for chapter number 3, that is the cherry tree. Friend, this is another Ruskin Bond story and I'm just damn sure you have been through Ruskin Bond over the years, even in the earlier standard. So this story is again a very light-hearted, delicate story, just the way Ruskin Bond brings us to the children, especially. This story, Cherry Tree, revolves around the concept of duty, responsibility, perseverance, matlab, continue doing hard work in the face of difficulty without giving it up, and pride. It is narration in the third person. So, before commencing the story, friends, I would like to talk something about Ruskin Bond. Here you have the man himself, Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond, I would say, is an Indian writer writing in English. You must be surprised. Why Indian writer? Because Ruskin Bond is from British descent, but he was born and brought up in India. His family was settled in the British time in India, and he is turned out to be thoroughly Indian. His contribution, especially for children, Indian children, is really unparalleled. His number of characters like Rusty, like Uncle Can have become immortal and they still stay in the hearts of children as a living legend. Our trees still grow in Dehra has been rendered with Sahitya Academy Award, that is one of the most renowned awards given away in India in literature. Apart from that, he's also won few of the very well-renowned topmost civilian awards in our nation, that is Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan. So I would say only one thing about Ruskin Bond, that what India knows and understood and portrayed is unparalleled. It must be better than even any typical Indian writer who's born and brought up in India. So I can say Ruskin Bond is thoroughly Indian in spite of being a British descent. So we just give salute to this author, and just to give him tribute, we will discuss this story in the same fashion as he has done in his story. So let's go for reading it. But before commencing the story, I'll discuss about the theme and main idea about the story. Here the cherry tree is a symbol of survival, and it escapes almost eaten by a goat and being cut with the grass that is in the author's orchard or nearby garden place. Author is now accompanying maybe his grandfather, and he saves the cherry tree. Just as human beings struggle in life, so too does the cherry tree in this chapter. But the cherry tree shows resilience and the ability to withstand the adversities. So ultimately, all the other Ruskin Bond stories, it also gives a very strong message behind it. The bond between Rakesh and the tree is of care and nurture, just like a family who is caring for each other. Here, the boy Rakesh is in the center, and he takes care of the cherry tree, saves it, protects it. So, how does he do it? He never abandons this tree, even when the conditions become tough, which highlights the dedication it really takes to develop strong and binding relationships of affection and compassion. So Rakesh is a guardian to the cherry tree. He fulfills his responsibility and in the end is awarded or rewarded for his commitment and dedication towards the tree. So let's see how does he do it. So I'm bringing you the textbook, friends. Please wait for a while. Okay. So this is the cherry tree, and here we have the reading. Friends, I'm just taking this chapter as a as a challenge or a task for you. I've been sharing question answers for all the chapters, but this time I'm just leaving it to you. So you better do the practice of comprehension, and dealing with the question answer might be very easy for you because this chapter is quite easy. So it's a tool or it's a practice for you to deal with the question answers by yourselves. And even if it gives you a little trouble, then you can just come to me via WhatsApp and the other medium. So mind well, I'm not going to give you the question answer for this, neither I'm going to discuss it with you. So please watch this video, try to understand and listen to me very carefully. Okay. Rakesh lives with his grandfather in a little cottage in Himalayan foothills. His parents, Ruskin Bond normally writes the story about the people living around him. He belonged to Dehradun earlier in the life. Then he is now settled in Mussoorie. He was born in Kazoli, that is also belonged to Himachal Pradesh. So you'll see the people from the same region. That is quite obvious. His parents live in a small village 50 miles away, but there are no schools there. So Rakesh comes to live in Mussoorie with his grandfather, as I already told you. One day, when Rakesh was 7, he walked home from the Mussoorie bazaar eating cherries. They were little sweet, little sour, khatti miti, small bright small bright red cherries, which had come all the way from Kashmir Valley. Cherries and apples, and Kashmir has got really rich crop or produce of such kind of fruits. Cherry is one of them. By the time he reached home, only 3 cherries were left. Have a cherry, Dada, he said, as soon as he saw his grandfather in the garden. So, Dada means grandfather. Grandfather took 1 cherry and Rakesh promptly ate the other 2. He kept the last seed in the mouth for a long time, rolling it around until the tang had gone. Tang means that strong, sharp taste or smell that is called as tang. So he thadiyo chagadto tho, and ultimately that seed had lost all the flavor. It was about to be thrown away. Then he placed the seed on the palm of his hand. Are cherries seeds lucky? He asked. He must have heard from somewhere. The grandfather replied, of course, said grandfather, but nothing is lucky if you put it away. Grandfather is trying to teach him away from superstitions and blind faith and belief and all that. You want to teach him a lesson that it should be grown somewhere, should not be thrown away. Nothing is useful if it is thrown away. So he's telling in a different context. If you want luck, you must put it to some use, obviously. What can I do with a seed? Plant it, grandfather said. So Rakesh found a small place and began to dig up a flower bed. I'll plant it here. So grandfather now is quite expert of this gardening. Now advises him. See what does he say? Mind well, all this talk contains your answers in third person. Answer doesn't contain any I or you. It should be in third person. And probably you will find it in the past tense. So mind well. So Rakesh found a small place. Okay. I don't think that is a good idea, said grandfather. I have sown mustard. SOW means planting something. Now it is past participle of that particular verb. Mustard means rye that we put in the tadka, bagar. In that flower bed, plant it in that shady corner where it won't be disturbed. It should be protected. So it should not also require much of the light, scorching heat. So it should be under the shade of some big tree. Rakesh went to that corner of the garden. He pressed the seed into the soil with his thumb and it went right in. Then he had his lunch, ran off to play cricket with his friends. He forgot all about the cherry seed. So when it was winter in the hills, well, this place, this soil, this temperature, this climate was quite suitable for cherry tree. So it didn't require much care. So it was forgotten by that little boy. And then winter struck. A cold wind blew down from the mountains and went. This is a kind of sound written over there. The WH, 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 WH. That is a sound in the Deodar trees. Deodar trees are quite slender, tall. Its trunk, its wood is used for furniture. In the evenings, grandfather and Rakesh sat outside near the charcoal fire, Sagdi, and grandfather told stories about people who turned into animals, all the legends and fables and allegories and all that kind of, where the animals can play part and perform roles. Beans that jumped and stones that wept. All the fanciful story, fantastic stories. They knew it was spring when the wild ducks flew north again to Siberia. Siberia is in maybe southern Russia. It's the coldest, one of the coldest places in the world. So birds from that place coming in the winter time in India and going back in Indian winter to Siberia again. Early in the morning when he got up to chop wood and light a fire. Fire is quite common in the colder countries, especially in the house. There is mental peace and there's grate just to light the fire. So they have to keep the wood ready for every day. Rakesh saw the V-shaped formation. That is when geese or ducks and other birds fly. See, is written over there. From one country to another to escape the winter, they fly in the shape of V. This shape makes it easier and faster for them to travel long distances. So they saw the V-shaped formation flying northward. One morning in the garden, Rakesh bent to pick up what he thought was a small twig. A small shoot or stem with a little leaf came out of the soil. Just the bigger form of bird. He found to his surprise that it was well rooted. He ran to fetch grandfather, calling, "Dada, come and look, the cherry tree has come up." Grandfather forgot about it. So he was curious and he asked, "What cherry tree?" asked grandfather. "The seed we planted last year, look." They both bent down and peered at the tiny tree. "Yes, it is the cherry tree," said grandfather. "You should water it now and then. Now you should take care of it." Now he was now made guardian by grandfather. Rakesh went indoors and came back with a watering can, as you can see in the picture. "Don't drown it." Grandfather laughing. Means do not pour so much of water that it is drawn away with the water swept. So that is the advice in a very light-hearted tone given by the grandfather. Rakesh gave it a sprinkling. He sprinkled the water over there and circled it with pebbles just to protect it. You can just see here, over there. These surrounded pebbles means rounded stones, small ones. Grandfather asked, "What are the pebbles for?" Grandfather asked, "For privacy. We should be remained alone and undisturbed. That year, the monsoon rains came early. Ferns sprang from the trunks. Ferns is a kind of uh, the plant with a very small leaves. You could see over the streams and waterfalls, especially on the mountain hills or the rocks. Ferns sprang from the trunks of trees, and the trees dripped as the mist came curling up the valley. Drip means dropping with the water. The cherry tree grew quickly in this season. It is a most suitable time for cherry tree to grow. So it grew very quickly and nicely. It was about 2 feet high when a goat entered the garden and ate all the leaves. Only the main stem and two thin branches remained. It was almost eaten by that goat, but it was still left with the main stem. So there is a hope that again the twigs and boughs and leaves would come out. But now it should be protected. It was slight of a sort. So never mind, said grandfather. Seeing that Rakesh was upset, he said, it will grow again. Cherry trees are tough, but if they don't die and they don't get dried up so easily, that small stem and can again make it grown. So don't worry. But now you have to protect it. It should not happen again. Towards the end of the rainy season, new leaves appeared on the tree. Then a woman cutting grass came down the hillside. Again, the tree was going to be in danger. Her scythe swishing through the heavy monsoon foliage. You must have seen that scythe, datradu. That is an equipment used for cutting the grass. Foliage means all the leaves and plants grown together. Swishing matlab that sweep that creates that sound of rushing it against what that foliage. So swishing through the heavy monsoon foliage. She did not try to avoid the tree. One sweep, the cherry tree was cut into two. So it was not protected properly and not taken care properly. When grandfather saw what had happened, he went after the woman and scolded her. Kijana ene. But the damage could not be repaired. Maybe it will die now, said Rakesh. He was very disappointed. But the cherry tree had no intention of dying. Well, it seemed to be very firm and determined. It faced almost fatal adversities, fatal blows, first from God, another from that woman. So that teaches us, okay, until the last breath, we should not give it up. By the time summer came around again, it had sent out several new shoots with tender green, tender means soft green leaves. Rakesh had grown taller too. He was 8 now, 8 years old, sturdy, strong boy with curly black hair and deep black eyes. One day he found a bright green praying mantis. Praying mantis, friends. That is, I think, you've been given the tidru. It looks like teed, that dragonfly kind of in the sea you must have seen. That is teed. You must have heard about teed, matlab they attack upon the crops in the field and they devour everything. They don't even leave enough. So it is teed kind of insect over there. Perched on a branch, it was the cherry tree's first visitor. The next visitor was a hairy caterpillar. You must have seen caterpillar, who started eating the leaves. Rakesh removed it quickly and dropped it on a heap of dry leaves. So come back when you are a butterfly. He talked to that caterpillar. So cherry tree is now inviting the guest. Winter came early. The cherry tree bent low with the weight of snow. It was snowing. Then in February, it was Rakesh's birthday. He was 9 and the tree was 3. It was almost as tall as Rakesh. One morning, when the sun came out, grandfather went into the garden. He stared at cherry tree and then called out Rakesh. He said, Rakesh, come and look. Rakesh and grandfather gazed at the tree. There was a pale pink blossom. Blossom means newborn flower. Pale means dull pink at the end of the branch. The following year, there were more blossoms. He is telling him that the coming year there will be more flowers. And suddenly the tree was taller than Rakesh. And when it was taller than even grandfather, was older than some oak trees. Grandfather is very aged. Oak trees are known for their ages. They are long-living trees. Grandfather was even older than some oak trees. But it was taller than both grandfather as well as Rakesh. But Rakesh had grown too. He could run and jump and climb trees as well as most boys. And he read a lot. Lot of books. Although he still liked listening to grandfather stories. Sometimes the stories really appeal even the elder ones. They're so interesting, and storytelling is an art, and grandmother might have had it. So still like to listen to grandfather for the stories. These came to feed on the nectar, the juice in the blossom of cherry tree that is called as nectar. Nectar actually means amrit, that keeps us immortal. But here nectar is that juice in the blossoms of the tree, and tiny birds pecked all the blossoms and broke them off. Means here attacked with their sharp beak. But the tree kept blossoming. That summer there were small cherries on the tree. Rakesh tested one and spat it out. Why? Because it was not ripened one, so they were sour. It is too sour. Cutty. They'll be better next year, grandfather replied him. It will be ripened by the next year and it will be very tasty. Few days later, a warm sunny afternoon, Rakesh went into the garden and lay down on the grass. Lie down, past tense, lay down. Just the way you can see in the picture. It's called as lay down, lie down. Under the shade of the cherry tree. Earlier it was kept in the shade of the tree. Now cherry tree is able to give the shade to the other tiny plants. It is grown. It is all Rakesh's tree. Because Rakesh was the guardian of the tree. Rakesh went into the garden, lay down on the grass beneath the tree. He gazed up through the leaves at the great blue sky. Grandfather came outside too, and they waited in the silence until the stars came out. So they are highly restful. They are highly proud of themselves. It is an utmost contentment when the tree that is grown by you is so steady and big one. It gives you the happiness and contentment of growing up a child, and child becomes a man and started contributing in the society. So that satisfaction was seen in grandfather and Rakesh. There were so many trees in the forest, said Rakesh. Why do we like this tree so much? Now the answer comes. Because we planted it ourselves. So what you do for yourselves, by yourselves, gives you the utmost pleasure. Earned money by you gives you the best pleasure. Cooking done by you gives you the best of the smell and taste. So same with the tree. Just one small seed, said Rakesh. It touched the smooth bark of the tree. Bark means tree trunk that had grown. And he whispered, just talked to himself, mumbled by himself, very slowly, very silently spoken. I wonder, is this what it feels like to be God? Means he is so gratified. He feels as if he were God, as because of him the seed had grown into the tree. Just the way God plants a seed in mother's womb, and it produces a child, and child gets grown into the man, and man can change the entire world universe. So God must be proud of himself. So does Rakesh over there by growing up a tall tree, cherry tree. So this is how we can just see the duty done by Rakesh, responsibility borne by Rakesh, perseverance, all of that hard work done by Rakesh, and the pride that he feels at the end of the story when he finds cherry tree is quite shady, grown, and now is able to give fruits as well as blossom. So he is now a proud person and feels like a god. So this is the end of cherry tree. Here is the man himself, Ruskin Bond. Better you go for it, read it, and here we have the question answers. I'm leaving it to you, friends. So please come to me if any doubts are there. I'm signing off today. Thanks for listening to me, and we'll soon meet for the next chapter. Thank you very much.